Kavichandra Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. How are you?
Quite all right.
Good. Very good to see you. Where are you right now?
I'm in Bali, Indonesia.
Ah, Bali. Wonderful.
Been here since March.
This series of interviewing GBC members is designed to let our audiences know something about the GBC, something particularly about the individual members, get to know them a little bit better, as well as their feelings and thoughts of how they're managing their zones, what they see in ISKCON, and we'll end with some, we'd want to hear from you what you feel some of the challenges and the upsides of ISKCON going into the future are. So that's how we'll conduct our time. So let's just start. Please tell us something about how you joined Krishna consciousness and how your life and service to Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON evolved.
All right. Om Gana Timirandasya Ganagana Shalakaya Chaksura Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharani Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschachade Satani. Well, I think I joined out of causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda. That was in 1970, the end of 1970 is when I first met devotees. That was in Tucson, Arizona. I was kind of a wandering hippie, lost soul, trying to find a community or something that was spiritual, where I could live safely. And so I met devotees. There was just a few brahmacharis at the time there. And we started staying there for a few months. And then because they were all brahmacharis, I had a family, so I went to Dallas, Texas. And then I was there for some time. In the beginning, selling incense, and then we were there when they moved. We started in the old temple there. It was a house, very crowded situation, and then we moved over to the current location. And then I was called to Los Angeles and while I was in Dallas, I got into book distribution because my wife got so frustrated she left for a little while. And one merciful brahmachari started taking me out door to door every night. So I got really into that. Then I was called to LA for the incense factory. So I was managing incense factory, and I went on book distribution every night. Krishna's mercy there, because and being the manager of the incense factory, they gave me a nice little Toyota pickup truck. So I was able to go every day for book distribution. Finally got on traveling Sankirtan.
So you joined the BBT party, I think, didn't you?
Yeah. First I was traveling just from LA, and then I joined the BBT party. At that time, it was just Tripurari and Sarvabhauma and myself.
Oh, so you're a founding member of the BBT party.
That particular party. And so we just went to different airports and traveled, and gradually others, Ramaswamy came up with this idea of training book distributors and asking all the temples to send their parties to join us. So it grew and grew and grew, and then we were getting all those airports open. So that went on for some time. Actually, up until Prabhupada left, actually. That party got merged with the Radha-Damodara party at some point. And then that was quite an event. then I got put in charge of a bus, which was quite chaotic at the time, all these new buses and traveling around with a group of men. And the history of the Radha-Damodara is, I guess, known a little bit, but it was quite big. Gradually got so many brahmacharis, and vans, and buses, and so that went on until Prabhupada's disappearance. And then I started traveling with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then he went to India, and I went to Bombay with him.
Wow.
And so that was the early days of Juhu, which was another chaotic time. And I was manager of the Juhu for some time there.
Really?
It was really crazy. We had debts to all the little shops around the area, and there was all kinds of things going on, from the black magic and very few devotees there, and no Indian, practically 2 or 3 Indians, all foreign, and the visa problem. And then there's a whole history. I don't know if anybody will ever write that. But then I went, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj finally said, go to Fiji. So I went to Fiji. And I was there 1 year, and that was quite blissful, actually. We traveled all over for 1 year, just doing Harinam, going to schools and having kirtan, Bhagavad Gita, distributing books. And these were the times, right after Prabhupada left. Prabhupada wrote in the 4th canto that when the Acharya leaves, there'll be chaos. So there was a lot of chaos. Anybody you know for sure. And so then I left Fiji, and I went to Los Angeles. So the chaos was getting pretty intense, and Godbrothers were all frustrated. So I told Ramaswar I'll go to Japan, and I thought, there's only karmis there, there's only a few devotees, and I can just preach there. I don't have to get involved in any kind of, whatever is going on. So I went to Japan.
What year was that?
79, I think.
79. Okay.
Yeah. First, it took a long time to get the visa because the devotees had previously, made a bad name there. So I went to Bombay again for 6 months and just did life membership. And that was pretty blissful. And then finally got to Japan. There was only a few devotees. Not much was happening. But somehow Krishna, really helped and sent some really nice young devotees, and things just really happened. We had a lot of book distribution, and not a huge number of devotees, but they were all Japanese. Everybody went on book distribution every day. So we were on top of the world for a while until India and Russia came up. And then wiped out. But anyway, I was there, and then in 87, and then it was a GBC Reformation or whatever they call it, and I was put on the GBC.
Oh, so you joined the GBC in 87?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was one of the first, I think they put 12 or something new ones on at that time. So that was just for Japan, but then, things happened. I gave Hawaii and Thailand, and then Indonesia, and then Israel, and then West Africa. So I got spread out quite a bit. And that's what's been going on ever since.
So really traveling the entire world and going to places that are more or less opening them up and creating an opening for Krishna consciousness is a big part of your career.
Something like that. I mean, there was something going on in all those places, and a lot of them, there was a lot of conflict between a very small number of devotees. It wasn't like a completely new, except Japan was basically, there was a few devotees, but that was pioneering. But anyway, it went on. It was interesting how it just comes about, in those days, how I got Africa.
So West Africa, let's talk about that for a while. That must be a difficult place to spread Krishna consciousness. That the economic system is all quite strange, and maybe there's a lot of poverty there. And so, how does our movement work in West Africa?
Well, it's a mystery place. The people are extremely I wouldn't say religious. They're spiritual. They really believe in God. They don't have much choice, so they depend on God a lot. So when the movement first started, Nigeria, for instance, had a very good economy when Bhakti Tirtha Swami and Brahmananda first went there. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj made a lot of devotees. And it was quite dynamic. Then the economy just went completely upside down, from one of the best in the world to one of the worst. That was Nigeria. And then the other countries, mainly Ghana, similar kind of thing was happening when they found oil or whatever they found. And then they had different internal problems, because that's a problem there, and there's quarreling and those kind of things with those people. So, and then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said somebody was against him there, and they blocked his visa, so he hadn't been there for some time. And then the way I got there was that Gopal Krishna Maharaj was at GBC, and Bhakti Tirtha was telling him, it might not be safe for you there, because that was another issue, not because of the country, but internally. So one day, just before the afternoon GBC meeting, we went in to wash our hands, and he said, you can be the GBC of Africa. And I kind of said, well, I don't know. And so when the meeting started, he said, Kavi wants to be GBC of Africa. And everybody said, great. And so at that time, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj hadn't been there for some time, and hadn't been even around for various long history. But so when I went, it was a very chaotic. The economy was, previously it had been, they have what's called a naira, and it was 1 pound, 1 naira. And you could exchange on the international market. When I went, it was 25 naira to $1. Now it's about 360 or something like that. The economy goes really, really crazy. And then we had the guru fall down, and the devotees were really bewildered. The country was really bewildered. The Christians were attacking devotees. At first, the devotees caught on really big, and a lot of young people joined. And they're still around, most of them. They're very high-class, intelligent ones. But then the Christians got really heavy against the Christians, so-called Christians. So all that was going on, and we just somehow kept going. They couldn't get any books. Previously, they'd been getting free books, because temples had a lot of book credits, but that ended, and then they had no books, no money, and But now it's picking up gradually. The older devotees have matured a lot since Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj left.
And have you been initiating in that area also?
Yeah, I have been. I'm trying to get, now we have 2 or 3 of them, local people initiating. So I'm trying to, get that going more. But yeah, I initiated some. But we weren't making very many new devotees. But it's quite mysterious also. The children of the devotees there, mostly really good, very serious and very nice devotees, and no politics and everything. So those were getting a lot of them initiated, and then a few new people. But now there's a lot of unification between all the devotees in those countries, and they're really yeah. Well, this, like we're doing here, the Zoom thing has been a big boon. So all of a sudden, a few devotees picked up on that and made a WhatsApp for all of West Africa. Now they moved it to all of Africa, and they have a class with different international speakers every day, and a japa class twice a day. So it's really picked up in just the last couple months.
Let's switch to Bali. You're in the middle of a major controversy in Bali. Are you able to speak about it openly?
Yeah, basically, but
tell us what's going on there, because I hear it's quite dramatic.
Well, it is, but personally, I'm competent. But Krishna always comes out victorious. But it's been brewing for a long time, ever since devotees first came. That Bali has their own form of Hinduism, and there's some that are quite proud and they're thinking that they're the real Hindus. So they thought we're too much Indian, and some devotees made trouble. That was before I ever came. And got a ban put on us, and the ban was basically that Prabhupada's books were banned.
Oh, really?
That was lifted in 2000 something by the Supreme Court. It was a type of law that was abandoned after that Suharto was out of office, a dictator. So we've been going very strong, and we have 5,000 or 6,000 devotees all over, not only Bali, but all the other islands. So this guy, now there's a governor of Bali who's somehow, not sure exactly why, but he thinks he's protecting culture. So he's very much against Hare Krishna. But then that's a Bali parashad, then there's a national parashad, and they're favorable, Hindu, more liberal. So we're kind of in the middle of a whole thing there.
But the governor, being part of the political system, he must have an awful lot of power. Does he have more power than the National Council?
I don't know exactly. He thinks he does. That will remain to be found out, because there's human rights and so many things. So there's another guy that he just started with the social media, so many things. Hare Krishna this, Hare Krishna that. Hare Krishna is illegal, but we're not illegal. And then because of the COVID, we haven't been out anyway for 4 months. We haven't done anything. So they're quite interesting. Like even they say Rath-yatra has nothing to do with Hinduism. That Bhagavad Gita is not Hindu. Things like that. So that many people that even in Indonesia, even in Bali, scholars and everybody, Prabhupada's books are very popular. And we sold so many books. Bhagavad Gita is so popular. Some schools are, telling the students they should read it, and coming and buying it from us. So, they just got a little stuff.
And so the current situation is that the devotees are allowed to spread Krishna consciousness, or they're not?
Legally we are, but we're not doing anything outside, because they tried to make an agreement with these people, but they didn't stick to their side, so let's see what happens. So, but it's only been like about 3 weeks where they opened up, like the beaches were all closed, everything was, nothing happening outside very much. So no tourists have been coming, and it's a tourist-based economy. So people are running around, people are frustrated, even farmers, because, all these hotels used to buy so much and they can't sell their goods.
During this COVID period of time, have you been still traveling, or have you just been hunkered down and staying safe?
We just stayed. at the temple, one temple. Even some of the temples, we weren't supposed to go in and out. Could only have a few people. So only the last couple of weeks we started. Like now I'm on the other side of the island. We started moving around.
So are you largely just staying still and then doing your service through Zoom?
Yeah, it was, in that sense, it was good. We started a Zoom japa class in the morning and Zoom class every night. And Mahavishnu Swami and Sabyasachi Prabhu were here, so that we had classes every day and things like that. Different devotees, like one place they couldn't go out of their property, so they started farming on some land they had. They're really happy about that and realizing what they can do. So these things go on. We don't know. We got this guy advertised the name Hare Krishna a lot on the social media, and many people are very favorable to us. But still, he's a governor, so he can have a lot of influence. I can't know exactly what's going to happen. I just have confidence. Krishna always wins, but sometimes we had in so many countries very big problems.
So, looking forward to the other areas of the world that you're at GBC. Where are they?
Japan, Thailand.
Okay.
And Israel now again.
Oh, Israel again.
Yeah. I was there, a long time ago, and then various reasons I dropped out. Back.
And so, are you just staying in touch with these with the leaders of those zones just through Zoom and spending time with them that way?
Yeah, it's this internet thing is a boon. So we're having a lot of classes on Zoom for those countries also. Now I have 3 a week for Japan.
Some people are saying that actually they're even a little bit more connected with the people around the world than when they were pre-COVID. Are you finding that you're actually maybe even spending more time with people, although it be on the video?
Yeah, I found that with these classes, these group classes, and everybody we're getting much more close in many places. And
well,
the devotees amongst themselves have come much closer together by this, because they couldn't go to the temple, but they communicate much more by these chat groups and by the Zoom classes and everything than they did before.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, book distribution, we have not figured out how to distribute books outside of being out on the street.
Well, online book distribution, there's a few devotees here in Bali that do online, and since all this publicity, they're getting more sales of Gita.
And they're just putting the books in the mail.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but I'm trying to encourage. I just tried to get somebody to start in Japan, because there's very few devotees. We have a lot of new devotees, very new, but it's no ashram or anything. So I'm trying to get somebody to organize the internet book distribution also. Africa, they were pretty much locked down until recently. So book distribution more or less dropped dead there, but the devotees getting themselves together and communicating with us has gone up a lot, and discussing the books and studying. So that's a big boon, because then they're going to naturally do something.
So if we look at your history, you can kind of, there's several different threads in your history, and one of them is taking on areas of the world that the spreading of Krishna consciousness has had some difficulties. And, that kind of leads me to maybe the next question, which is when you look out into the future, what are some of the challenges that ISKCON has that really should be addressed, if at all possible? What are some of those challenges, and what do you think about them?
Well, that's birth, death, disease, and old age is one of them. And, now we're becoming very, very aware of that. The whole world is. But ISKCON's quite new, so we're still working out a lot of things. The basic things have to be protected, keeping Prabhupada in the center, with all the international influences and different, influences from people coming from other, Indian backgrounds or something that may not really know Prabhupada's teachings. So education in that way, just basics, so that everybody's fixed on some of the basic things. And then like I see in Bali and Africa especially, they were very anxious to build big temples, when they didn't have very many devotees. And it attracts attention from the envious people. But so we had to spread out. We had to have a lot of small groups, intimate study groups, and all these different aspects of what we're doing, because there's different types of interest groups, different type of preaching people want to do. So, keeping the faith, the trust amongst devotees, devotee care, that's, I see, like the most important thing. If the devotees are trusting each other and, that we're all servants of Prabhupada, then, Prabhupada is the founder of Acharya and all those things, and we know what Prabhupada established, and then we'll move ahead in spite of all the difficulties. There's going to be so many difficulties in the world now. Who can predict now? I mean, this COVID, I guess, there's been movies about plagues and things, but nothing like this. I think nobody ever thought of anything like this. It just keeps going. So we don't know what's next. The world's on fire, but that's just Bhagavatam is coming to life. So we need to not only distribute a lot of books, but we have to follow up and, be able to give association and provide facilities for association and good association. That's the same standard challenge we've had all along. Organization, Prabhupada said, 4 regular principles and intelligent organization. So we're getting beyond the old thing of people would tell us we don't like organized religion. We say, that's all right, we're not organized. But that's not the case.
When we talk about this education, that worldwide we have to provide the ISKCON devotees with that education, how are we going to do that?
That's a good question. What has to be done locally, for the most part, I mean, we can have our Mayapur schools and everything, but that you can't get everybody. But locally, we have to, take our children. I just got the new book about the women, getting their voice. That's, I think, still an issue. Equal opportunities for everybody, and recognizing people on their merit rather than their age and their gender and all these other things. And it's all just basic Christian consciousness. So we need to locally, focus with I guess, like traveling preachers, like going around and trying to make sure these things are going on. I don't know details very much, but the basic principle is, and it's every country's souls are all the same, the philosophy is the same, but the way they deal with each other, the way they manage things, there's big differences, especially, I don't know if it's especially my zone, but you go between Japan and West Africa or something, materially they're just totally opposite. One is like, Japan is like, everything is working materially anyway, but people are frustrated and people are not religious at all, basically. In West Africa, it's, materially, there only a few good roads even. And only the last 10 years, they had decent cars and telephones and all this. But the people are very spiritual. They all believe in God. They're interested. And if they get a book, they read it. So, and they have their own way of dealing with each other, and we have to let them do it their way. So, but help them, encourage them, and all these things.
So just going back to your beginnings for a minute, didn't you and I distribute books together in Chicago for a while?
A little bit in Chicago and Dallas. We went out a few times.
Yeah.
We traveled around Texas a little bit. Chicago, 1 or 2 days I stopped through and we were there.
Okay.
That was not
in Dallas at one point we were on a traveling Sankirtan party. The devotee who was driving fell asleep and the whole van rolled over. You weren't in that van at that time, were you?
I wasn't in that one.
Okay. Miraculously, nobody got hurt. The van
had that almost happened once in Texas.
Did you ever, in Texas, did you ever go with me down to the Fort Hood Army base?
Yeah, that's what we did, I think.
Okay. And they had the little bus station there where all the guys were going, and we were just circling the bus station.
Right. Yeah. The good old days.
Those were just incredible times.
Yeah. I was in Chicago Airport, like, before when it was the original airport. And we had Vaisheshika.
I don't remember Vaisheshika Prabhu being there, was he?
He was there when I was there. He came when I was there. And he was still when I left. I don't know, he went to St. Louis, but and we had Vaisheshika and Pragosh and Naikatma, and so many, Kaziram, big party.
Kaziram, yeah.
25 devotees. We did.
The best of time. So, okay, Maharaj, I think we can wrap things up. These challenges that you've mentioned, I'm gonna, there's been some progress made in the educational ministry recently. Shesha has teamed up with Tapan Mishra Prabhu, who's got an awful lot of energy. And
Right.
And there's also some talk about working more with the Guru's Services Committee to educate more on the principles of Srila Prabhupada being the preeminent Shiksha Guru of our movement. Of course, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, we dearly miss him. He was a strong proponent of Srila Prabhupada's preeminent position.
And strong GBC.
Yeah, very strong. So we thank you very much for your time. And maybe just in closing, one last comment about the importance of staying with ISKCON. You spent your entire life serving ISKCON. What kind of encouragement can you offer near the end of our call here on encouraging people to sacrifice and put energy into ISKCON?
Well, the ISKCON Desire Tree, I did an interview with them on that very topic quite some years ago. The bottom, it's Prabhupada's movement, and if we really want to be with Prabhupada, and something like some Christians that are very sincere, they said they have to carry their cross, their own cross. Jesus suffered, so we have to do that also. So Prabhupada, he put so much effort into creating ISKCON and all the different aspects of it, from zero. We go somewhere and think, we're not really starting anything. We have so much back help from behind, and we have books and temples all over the world. But Prabhupada had absolutely nothing. And he plowed through, and he made us all devotees, and he wanted us all to do that also. So I'm just trying to stay connected to Prabhupada like that. And that's what keeps me in it. Besides all the, the association of all the wonderful devotees that are connected to Prabhupada that can carry us through. So that's my opinion. That ISKCON is where Prabhupada is. Krishna is everywhere, and there's many different, lines to follow. But, Prabhupada is the one that was obviously especially empowered, and especially for me and anyone who comes in contact with ISKCON, they have to realize that it's all due to Prabhupada's mercy. And, just stick it out, you'll get the reward, Pleasing to Lord Chaitanya.
Okay, Maharaj. So thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that I did write it once on the conference, but what the strategic planning has been doing in this COVID is like, I don't know if we want to keep calling it COVID, but it's really wonderful, all these different programs and classes and, different things that they've been coming up with constantly. It's, it really keeps the email like something to look forward to. All the things. And, the last one is Prabhupada in faraway places and things. All these things that I really, really appreciate it. So it's been really beneficial, I think, for everybody. So I hope
thank you for that. We're finding our service, it's enthusing us every day. I think you may know that we have over 20 devotees as part of our team. And we meet every single day on the conference call, except for rare occasions. So it's like every single day at 4 a.m. Pacific time, our team meets. We met this morning and coming up with different ideas on how to serve devotees, etc. And I'm happy that you're pleased. Of course, you're a member of the GBC, and the strategic planning team is in direct service of the GBC. So if you're pleased, then that means that we're pleased. And so I thank you for that.
Yeah, that's just another aspect of the COVID, like pushed everybody to really start using the internet much more. And the whole world is going that direction anyway. So, everything. So this has been really, really wonderful for devotees. So many different topics and different seminars and everything. That, giving access, not just one person doing his thing in one corner, but going all over the world. It's been very nice. So thank you all very much. Please pray for us here in Bali. The devotees are just carrying on, we have temples, but we don't have big ashrams. Everybody's also, the devotees are doing whatever they can to deal with the issue with, other people. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you all very much. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Haribol.
Ki Jai. Gaur Premanand.
Haribol.
Do I hang up or you hang up or how does it work?